KFW, coming to you live in HD. Voted Best Morning Newscast 3 years in a row. This is Wake Up Wisconsin. We've got you covered.
A new Wisconsin law, Silver Alert, will take effect Friday. We have more on it and how it could save lives.
And new equipment to clean up our local lakes of that blue-green algae. We'll tell you what Dane County's doing to keep us safe.
Right, yeah, we've seen a lot of that, and it's been worse in years past. And
well, it's been hotter in years past, too. I think that has an effect, you know?
Sure does, yeah.
Well, we'll take the cooler temperatures. I'm not complaining about it being cooler, I like it.
That's
I know.
Sure.
Every morning feels really good, and it's hard to believe that this whole month of July really went through it with, what, 2 or 3 hot days where you really needed the air?
Nice.
That's about
Cooler this morning, that's for sure.
It is in the 50s this morning, and we'll get over to the forecast right away, I suppose. We're looking at pretty decent weather and a cam. Oh, we'll check on the cam in just a sec. Let's look at the storm reports from yesterday. Sounds just fine. Couple of them, not many. One down into Florida, some wind damage near east of Mount Dora, Florida, wherever that is. Looks like it's not that far away from Orlando, to tell you the truth. A little bit of wind damage down toward Speedway, Indiana at 6:35 p.m. And we did have a couple of storm reports very southeastern Wisconsin, Waukesha at 8:10 p.m. A little wind damage there as a line of showers and a couple of embedded thunderstorms rolled through southern and southeast Wisconsin. Today's severe weather potential, not much across the nation, not enough for any sort of risk to be issued, and that's fairly rare for the end of July. Usually we see some area highlighted. We're seeing some sunshine outside right now. It's a pretty picture off of our Doppler cam. Again, 58 degrees, northwest wind at 3, dew point down at 55. Another morning with dew points in the 50s and some sunshine for us. We'll bubble up a few clouds as we go throughout the day, and there might be an isolated shower or two later on, but less coverage area than what we saw yesterday when most of us saw something. Temps largely in the 50s this morning. There's a look at those dwindling clouds, and it's a high today of 79 degrees, just a shower later on, possible for somebody. Partly sunny skies, a stray shower, concerts on the square should be dry. We'd have to be unlucky to be one of those few that gets something. 7:30 p.m. start tonight, and then as we head into the overnight, 57 degrees the low. We'll take a look at tomorrow and the rest of the 7-day, including a gorgeous weekend in just a few minutes.
Thanks, Brian.
Thanks so much, Brian. A new Wisconsin law takes effect this Friday to help find missing adults. It's called Silver Alert, similar to Amber Alert, but for people with dementia.
Yeah, Jenna Rowe has more on how this law will potentially save lives. Jenna.
Recently, there have been 2 cases here in the Madison area where men with dementia have wandered off. Luckily, in both of those cases, the men were found safe. I sat down exclusively with one of those gentlemen, Stephen Nelson, and his wife Adrian to see if this new law, Silver Alert, could have helped them when Steve was missing for 30 long hours. It's an interview you will only see on 27 News.
I think it's a good idea.
Steve Nelson, a man of few words, has that to say about the new Silver Alert program that takes effect this Friday. Steve struggles with dementia and recently gave his wife Adrian quite the scare when he wandered off and couldn't be found for 30 hours.
You start wondering whether or not he's going to be found.
The Alzheimer and Dementia Alliance of Wisconsin's Rob Gunnerman worked directly with Governor Walker on the legislation for Silver Alert.
Number one, I hope it saves lives, and I'm convinced that it will.
The program, which was modeled after one in Florida, will make it that much easier to find someone with dementia who's gone missing. An alert will be sent to all broadcasters across the state. The current program only notifies those who have subscribed. Alerts will also be posted on highway signs and lottery number displays in case someone is suspected to be in a car. Gunnerman says actually the most likely place to find a missing person is right here at a gas station. Whether they have to go to the bathroom or fill up on gas, chances are they show up here. Not only can that allow a person to travel farther, but it can be a hazard to anyone who shares the road.
Last thing in the world you want is a confused person with dementia out on the roads.
In Steve's case, he wasn't in a car, but his family still said Silver Alert would have helped find him sooner.
It's just one piece because it relies on somebody else seeing it and seeing the person who's missing. So it's still not quite enough.
Gunderman acknowledges that Silver Alert might not be able to save everyone, but he says it's a huge step in the right direction.
No one deserves to die lost and alone, and that's really what this bill will we believe, fix.
Adrian says after Steve's incident, they took extra precautions, and he'll be issued a care tracker from the Dane County Sheriff's Office that will track his whereabouts 24/7. For more information on these care trackers and Silver Alert, head to our web channel at WKOW.com. Danny and Brandon.
All right, thanks so much, Jenna. The trial continues over a newborn who went missing, allegedly kidnapped by his aunt. She's on trial in federal court in Madison. Kristen Smith's attorney says she had permission to take Caden Powell from his mother, Brianna Marshall. Police found Caden in a storage bin outside an Iowa gas station. He had been left there 29 hours in below freezing temperatures, but survived. In court yesterday, jurors heard a 911 call from the morning of the kidnapping, where Marshall stood up for her half-sister, Kristen Smith.
She's claiming that she hasn't had the kid, correct?
No, she didn't take my son.
But the night before the kidnapping, both Marshall and the baby's father, Bruce Powell, testified Smith gave them unspecified pain pills, which basically knocked them out as their baby disappeared. The case could go to the jury today.
We now know the name of the young man found dead in a pond in Lake Mills this weekend. Police say he's 18-year-old Devin Droster of Lake Mills. Droster's body was found in the mill pond along South Ferry Drive Sunday evening. Investigators are still looking into how he died. In international news, Israeli tank shells slam into a crowded United Nations school that was sheltering Gaza war refugees. 15 Palestinians were killed, 90 were hurt. The tank shells tore through 2 classroom walls. The Israeli military had no immediate comment. This comes just a day after the deadliest day so far in the past 3 weeks of Israel-Hamas fighting. Tuesday, 128 Palestinians were killed, according to a Gaza health official.
A Wisconsin company denies it outsourced Wisconsin jobs, but that claim doesn't match up with federal labor records. Plexus Corporation of Nino was one of 2 companies featured in a 27 News investigation earlier this month for outsourcing state jobs after receiving millions of dollars in tax credits from the Wisconsin Economic Development Corporation. Plexus admits to laying off 116 employees in July of 2012, but says the work wasn't outsourced. However, U.S. Department of Labor records show those workers received federal trade adjustment assistance benefits because the company shifted production to a foreign country. Supreme Court justices in Wisconsin will rule this week on 3 big cases in the state. On Thursday, the court will rule on challenges to the voter ID law.
It will also decide on a case challenging the state's domestic partner registry, and justices will rule on Act 10, also known as the collective bargaining law. Parts of Act 10 have been upheld by the state Supreme Court, a U.S. district judge, and an appeals court. Political experts say the decision could go either way, but the impact of it will make a difference at the polls in November.
People who are not happy with the Supreme Court decision will express themselves in the election itself.
Democratic candidate for governor Mary Burke didn't comment on the issue, but is known to support unions. Governor Scott Walker says the election won't hinge on his signature legislation, but rather on jobs.
Apple is making improvements to its MacBook Pro and dropping the prices for another one of its laptops. For this morning's Tech Bites, here's ABC's Devin Dwyer.
In today's Tech Bites, Apple laptops getting a freshen up. The all-new MacBook Pro models will see a minor speed boost. 15-inch models are getting more base RAM, and the 13-inch models are dropping slightly in price. Well, news of growing revenue and new users sent Twitter stock soaring, adding nearly $7 billion in market value just yesterday. Researchers at Stanford say they've discovered the holy grail of batteries. Their invention is a pure lithium battery that could last 4 times longer than current batteries. That would mean more power for everything from smartphones to electric cars. And this could be the ultimate motivation to start exercising. Later this morning, Good Morning America investigates the app that gets you in shape and pays you. And Yelp just got a little more user-friendly. The Consumer Review website is adding a video feature to its iPhone app, giving users a 3 to 12-second ambient taste of the businesses they're considering. Those are your Tech Bites. I'm Devin Dwyer.